Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to the stream. I am RAOW, and we're gonna have some after-session discussions, possibly some other stuff, and I'm also gonna be working on the RAOW system. So at this point, we're just gonna be chilling a little bit. Maybe. We'll see what chaos ensues.
I'll get out of Chomper Brain, all good.
But Chomper Brain is fun.
RAOW.
I know it's fun. It is. It's just, oh man, it is chaotic. I want to give some other people time to be able to, new vibe and all that.
Now just need to feed Chomper some leech seed.
See about right. Go. I'm working on stuff in the background. See what we're gonna do next. Let's see. All right. So, what do you think about the RAW system that would you be changing around? Curious. I think I'm looking at the.
I'm not planning to change things around right now. Like, the only thing that I changed around was clarifying the tremor sense. Because, yeah, I did not describe it well enough. Hopefully it's more clear right now, where I've got it at now. But, the
Just
other
you can
things...
see,
What's up?
also for the updates, it's the green, blue, green, purple for the update list.
Yeah, basically anytime, like each week you'll want to come into this RAOW system, into this dock, both you and Enja and, well, the other players too, but they're already gone, so, and to make it easier for you guys to see what's been changed or whatnot, you can just scroll through it and go by the, at the very top, I've got the highlight system that I'm using. Where, you know, if it's green, it's brand new as of Friday. And if it's blue, then it is 2 weeks old. Purple is 3 weeks old. And then I just remove the highlight. So, yeah.
There you go.
You just
Sorry, I'm a
scroll
little bit
through.
silent.
Oh, you're good. You just scroll through and see what's highlighted and what's not highlighted. And what colors, you know. Mostly just look for the green stuff unless you haven't been here for a week or two, then, you know, look older. But one thing, so there are two things that I want to focus on tonight. One, combat maneuvers. You know, things like tripping. The other thing... I forgot. Oh, right. I was going to be putting in a... I was going to be putting in the rules for what your move, what's available to you to learn. At least for the Pokemon game.
I'm not sure. What am I? Ask that one more time. Was that a question? Ask that one more. I'm jumping around between 5 different DMs about feedback, and it's really nice. But I overload information. One more time.
It was not a question.
Oh, sorry. Sorry about that. I thought it was a question.
I was answering your question of what I'm working on.
Oh, got you. Sorry about that.
No worries.
Let's see.
So, those over there in Rex's chat, I mean, I see several of my viewers, my regulars over there, but those that are regulars for Rex, what did you guys think? I'm curious about that. I'm hoping you guys liked it and wanted to come back.
Same.
That would be nice.
And what Squirrel is working on is...
RAOW.
Thanks, Toshime.
Uh-huh. You're welcome.
RAOW.
I'm actually thinking about the thing still. I wonder if I'd want to do my delivery a little. The way I was doing the whole food thing. Every time someone would have food, I kind of interrupted them purposely. I wanted to show the actual like adrenaline and actual hyperness of everything. But yeah, if anybody ever needs me to kind of like calm it down on those parts that they're trying to respond with their, because I know when you're storytelling, you kind of have like you have a thing in mind you want to like say it, and already you have people that change the flow of the story. It's probably harder to have people that interrupt you too. But yeah, all my interruptions when you mention food is literally in character and me wanting to express how hyper intense like like that, like focus on the food I am. So yeah.
Oh, perfectly fine.
I will be right back, but then I'll respond.
So is Chomper ready to do the review of what happened last time in the next game?
Oh no! Do I do it in character? Because you might like that more, but you might not get that much details. But I'll probably do that out of character. Yeah.
It's something that works with the other games.
Oh, okay. Do you usually do those in character or out of character?
Depends on who's doing it.
All right. I'll try to do it in character. I think it'd be probably a little funnier that way. And then you might need someone else to do it afterwards, or I might get out of character to explain a little better.
Like when Timber does the recaps.
It was a high-low day. Like it's really like it was pointed out, which was very great, by the way. It was literally like. I was like, imagine like this is like it was funny being told like this is literally the worst day of your life. You just woke up in a new place, you know what's going on, and then you ate these things and now you're bleeding. But yeah.
The doctor cursed him with knowledge of his tongue.
Well, it'll probably be funny recaps like Timber's, which are Imperial sanctioned recaps.
Well, I'll be popping off for now. I'll see you later.
Hey, okay.
Have a good night.
Been fun. Let's see. I'm currently like literally getting feedback type, but I'm trying to set up for the next thing we're gonna do on the stream now. Not really sure which one to do. Let's see.
Alright, I'm back, and I don't know if we're doing another thing on stream.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. I don't have like a thing to jump to immediately, so I'm trying to like just figure it out. I haven't heard from
Can just chill, relax, have a good time, continue being
Is
cute.
the recap going to be done by Chomper next time?
Yes.
Good
So
luck.
it's going to be like the Imperial recaps.
Next week I will probably have Chomper start and then have Taldarius fill in the blanks.
That sounds like a good idea. Honestly, it feels like a good bit. It'd be like this if they were like back like right beside each other, like trying to explain to somebody, and Tal would actually have to give the actual details, while Chomper's was basically bringing up like, and then I ate some apples, and then I ate some chestnuts, and then there was a lot of like coppery taste. Oh yeah, and then I blew up a bathroom with fire. It was kind of awesome, but yeah, stole some stuff. Also, We tipped. Okay, I'm spoiling. I'll go over later.
And
Anywho.
then we stretch and hydrate.
Oh yeah, stretch and hydrate, everybody. Drink some water and hydrate yourself. Oh yeah. On another note, I think I have a my stream raiders. I don't know if they're giving out to everybody now, but I actually have a my thing for like a character that can be put in there now. So that's cute.
Oh,
Haven't had a character-
nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't been on there in a while. I was about to give it to me, but yeah, I can. It's been on the screen the whole time by accident.
That goes
On the
to different people when you reach certain milestones, you get to that. Also, Seda! Hello! You should come join Voice. The session went great, though. We had a lot of fun. It was a lot of chaos. The name is 100% deserved. But it was high energy and lots of fun. Yeah, Dumbbride made 12 freaking clips during that, and I'm
Wow.
pretty
Yeah,
sure
it's a
he
lot.
missed a few.
There we go. Hello.
You give it a 5 out of 5 spiky chestnuts.
I showed you
I
my
don't
check.
know.
Showed you my spiky chestnuts. Please respond.
Well. I will respond with this on Telegram. I got new art. Then again, everybody can go see it in the Art Share channel on the Discord.
And now
So-
I'm wondering, did I share this? I did share that. Cool.
Let me see.
So, yeah. At least this time it was not my character that stole the show.
What are you talking about?
I'm not the
You did
only
steal the
one.
show. What? No. Oh, you were doing. That was cute. That was a lot of cute. That and Scruffy. I forget the running around with the scampering in a circle around us. Holy moly! Yeah. I think everybody had a moment there.
And this may be one where I can spend some of my coins.
Oh no. You have so many of them. Seriously, you have no idea how much Toshime can do with his crowns. He has so many.
I posted in chat how many.
But yeah, so Squirrel was ADHD all over the place. One of the characters' names is Scruff, and he is convinced that it's Scroofy because he didn't hear the correction. Because he got distracted with something else. He pounced basically everybody in the party, except for Chomper. But that's okay. He got yeeted into a chestnut tree.
Yeah, but
And-
that's okay because I got a high five. It was a great high five. Yeah. Ow.
Covered a high five where our we were then sharing some chestnuts.
Not upon open fire, apparently. Oh, hey, Slash X. Good to see you. Let's see.
So how long until the fight of Cobalt versus Chomper?
That's a fight? Oh, no. I felt like we did a tag team right there instead of a fight.
Do you know who Cobalt is?
Oh, Cobalt?
Mm-hmm.
Cobalt is a character from the Friday game.
Oh, I haven't catch many of those. I thought you were talking about
Railu.
Scroll still because you said Kobold. I thought it was like Kobold energy.
Railu.
Yeah, I know that. I saw Kobold energy. My brain was that was a lot of information to take in, like an overload. But I felt I had fun overall. But yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I try to explain systems as they come up instead of overwhelming you all at once.
Also, one moment. I'm out of order.
Okay.
And then for last hope, hey look, is that a flying squirrel? Oh wait, it just hit that chestnut tree.
I was not expecting you to hit that chestnut tree. Holy shit.
I was not expecting it either. At least not for it to be a chestnut tree.
Well, I mean, it wasn't just like all this like the storyteller. You did botch that roll pretty hard. Oh man,
Yeah.
that was a tragic. Yeah, that was the botch of the day. Oh, wonder what it could have been. We'll never know. Change some status effects over there.
I mean, you could. That's actually something that you could do is bring up the document on your stream as well and follow along with where I'm at. I'll let you know.
Let me see.
But not status effects. I'm gonna work on the move poll thing first. Just write that out. Just kind of getting things. This will be a subtitle.
I guess, hey, both chats. I'm gonna try to load your chat up. If anybody has any questions, I guess that'd be a good time, I suppose, or just, yeah, any. I know, like, no, tabletop and stuff. I've read in my chat, it could be like kind of complicated from outside look, but honestly, it's not too bad, especially when you got like this system going on and people to help you out with. That's how all these end up working. You go into a group and just basically like learn it a little bit at a time. I did not really know much of anything when I jumped in. You know me, I'm not a math person, I'm not a numbers person, and I am actually pretty overstimulated with like a lot of things at once sometimes. But yeah, this was doable. This was actually pretty fun. It was a chill experience. So yeah. Sir Kappa, what led you guys to eventually meeting each other? I actually met like everybody at first, I believe through Rygon. If I like basically Rygon kind of told more people about me in this community. And I met Razim, and Razim's community is pretty big and awesome. I've been meeting a lot of people since actually like getting together in this very idea of doing this this actual mystery dungeon RP. So this is actually the reason why you've probably been seeing more new people on the stream. So yeah, there you go.
Basically, Rygon raided Rex, and I decided to raid Rex as well. We did a double raid, and from there, I've raided him a couple more times. And at one point, he was talking about, I think I raided you after one of my tabletop games, and you were talking about wanting to join one, and I'm like, well...
I'm glad I was open to the idea. It's been great getting to know everybody here. I've been just having a blast. And yeah, if you've seen any of my streams the last couple days, you will know. It's been a very great experience.
Yeah, I just imagine Zim, you're just going, well, as you're just conjuring a contract out of thin air.
Oh, well, I mean, why do you think I've got,
I'm here typing. Yeah, I was gonna ask about that. I looked at the contract. I'm like, man, I wonder what contents that gets used. Did I sign the contract? I mean, look, y'all already got me to like talk about the Delphox feat over and over again. We've been to a lot of different awesome freaking like just positive changes going on here. and it feels really good. I'm looking forward to doing more of these tabletop games in the future, for sure.
So when are we getting the fan art of Chomper just hanging off of a single Delphox foot?
Oh my god! Just like looking like a gremlin, like a gator trying to just gnawing, like a codfish.
Oh, Mirai!
No! Come on! All the things we did today, that's the one thing that goes to your mind? We couldn't do, like, you know, the high five or the scampering...
Hey, in my defense,
Wait.
I was not here. I was doing other things.
Oh, that's
Was
true.
I muted for what I just called for Mirai?
No,
Yeah.
we heard
Nope.
everything, but
Okay, good.
but Rex was just a little bit louder.
I heard Mirai. I was trying not to think about it.
I've got an artist and I'm not afraid to use them.
Oh, well, dang. I did like the last one. It was cute. It was inaccurate, but it was cute. Also,
It was 100% accurate.
oh my goodness.
You just have Chomper thinking like, I don't know why, but the forces of the universe compel me to hug.
Funny enough, my brain was literally in the same state as Chomper when I was thinking of the Delphox feet. It was just like, I just want to see what they look like. I finally get to see. God damn it. And I got to see them. That's how it went down. Not in that picture. I find it funny that's the
Blasted
meme,
on
though.
my screen.
Oh my... No, come on, man. You gotta stop this this slander. This obvious slander. They are nice. They are nice balls, though. I admit. But this is not how it went down. Why don't you scooch over to the right? Look at the awesome ghost. Look at the awesome ghost Rex on the right. The ghost fusion Rex. You never show that. Show the ghost Rex.
Oh,
That was from the Doodle idea.
I
I want to see the ghost Rex.
cropped it down to just this. It's
You
not that I'm
seriously?
zoomed in, it's that I
You
cropped it
serious?
down to this.
Don't worry, he just chose the
Wow.
perfect dimensions.
The perfect dimensions. The perfect amount of beads. Right there.
I have to say the word perfect now while we don't get...
Okay. Also, just fair warned, Rex. I do have a nasty habit of coming up with either good or very memey art ideas, some of which may ruin your characters.
Yeah.
I borderline made Ours a Day You Cry.
What? That's wild.
Look, because I was like, we were having a discussion where it's like, yeah, we could have like totally like revised the system to, allow you to play like Absol or other like single evolution characters, and they not be weak. And RZ was really on board with that, and I just put the joking idea of just like, you're gonna have Azwith just like knock on the door, nudge at your leg, and just be like, that was a really fun session. We're gonna play again next week, right? Right?
Oh, man.
Rex, I have to warn you. In some of the other tabletop games, there's a fourth wall breaking Fae that gets summoned with the word perfect.
Really? If you just say that, it'll just be
Uh-huh.
summoned. Okay.
Yeah,
Taking notes.
Yeah.
and I like bringing the emotional damage.
Emotional damage. I feel like I was kind of touching on some subjects there. I wasn't trying to put them to the forefront, but I want to make Chomper into a little deeper character there and show some growth. That's why he's such a gremlin right now, because maybe when he evolves, he might not be as, hyper energy gremlin. Who knows? We will see.
I mean, isn't that the kind of like for me, like that's actually one of the beautiful things about like a mystery dungeon style transformation, or not transformation, but a mystery dungeon style. Sorry, I've been working on the TF bot for like the last 4 hours. Transformation is just like the entire thing on my brain right now.
Fair.
But it's the really compelling thing about a mystery dungeon campaign is that your characters start off with such a blank slate, so they are almost defined by these singular character traits of sorts, but they become very much fuller and deeper characters as they are defined by the events that they go through. Some more immediate than others, like waking up in a river and nearly drowning.
That's true. That is true. That is actually really harsh. Jeez. And symbolic. Sheesh.
Yeah, that is how Dart was introduced. Just you're in a river. Have fun. Steel ground type.
Oh no. Still ground type in a river doesn't sound good.
Learn to swim. You've never had paws before.
I'll be right back. I have to go check on my wife real quick. I'll be back in a moment. Come on.
Give her a hug.
Will do.
And while they're gone, you'll be pleased to know, Zim, that the bot is coming along very nicely.
They're kind of cute.
I am really happy to hear that, yes. I can't wait to get it.
I made a very key change that should make things a hell of a lot easier.
What's that?
There's now a singular button that has a bunch of initial variables hooked in, and these are variables for Sammy that load in when you open up the program, so they are variables that are there from the get-go. And these variables have your channel name and your file names. So, so all the other buttons then get the variable from that button. So you, in theory, should need to update just one singular variable for like the channel name, and it should be good to go.
Excellent. Exactly like I suggested.
Yep, I originally did it as an INI variable, but like it got really clunky when, you know, I'm trying to like call back to like different things or redemptions or whatever. It's like, derp, I can just do it like this.
Sweet. Also, I
We are getting-
love how my moderators are fighting over who shouts out who. Hey, anonymous raccoon, stop blocking my view. Toshime. I know that's you. What were you gonna say, Seda?
Oh, I was gonna just say is it's coming along.
As Chrysolves wins! Dunbrine and Chrysolves were trying to shout each other out, and Chrysolves beat Dunbrine to the punch.
Here, I'll do my shout out.
Ugh.
You're welcome.
What can I say except you're welcome?
What can I say except you're welcome? I really need to learn the lyrics to that song. I enjoy that song a lot. But part of the problem is that I've listened to like 5 different versions of the song, and they all get jumbled up. I think
And
like
it also...
Ask Google for the lyrics.
No.
I mean, I've already pulled up the lyrics, but like, definitely a part of the problem is that like, the lyrics after that are very specific to the song. Because, like, you know, like, the opening chorus is like, what can I say except you're welcome for the tides, the sun, the sky. Hey, it's okay, you're welcome. I'm just an ordinary demiguy. It's like, the lyrics kind of fall apart a little bit, like, outside of that one.
Ah. Have you heard the Star Wars version?
I have not.
I'm correcting this. It's my favorite version. It came out between the 8th and 9th movies. You know, right after they found Luke again. I don't care about it. Oh, hey, somebody animated it. I don't know if it's the same version.
Oh yeah, to delete this. What can I say except delete this?
I'll
So what I
just
believe
play the
you were
original.
trying to say is thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What? No, I didn't. What?
Okay, okay.
Is there a video for this that I can actually watch?
Kind
You're
of?
face to face with greatness and it's strange. You don't even know. What I believe
Here,
you were
I'll put it
trying
over
to
here.
say is thank you.
Oh, I mean, you didn't have to show it on stream, but that works.
It's just a still image, though,
Okay.
with the lyrics at the
I
bottom.
feel what's happening here. You're face to face with greatness and it's strange. You don't even know how you feel. It's adorable. What's nice to see, Padawans never change. Trust in the Force, let's begin. Yes, it's really me, Skywalker, breathe it in. I know it's a lot, the hand, the sight. When you're
I'm
staring
back. What I
at a
missed?
Jedi Knight. So what can,
What can I say except you're welcome
for that
for
Death
that Death
Star I blew
from the sky.
Hey, it's
Oh,
Wasn't
okay,
expecting this.
it's
okay, you're welcome.
I'm just an ordinary Jedi. Hey,
I would have lost a bet if you could have had to guess what's happening when I got back. Oh, you're walking with Star Wars? That's cool.
When Solo froze cold, who stopped the Rancor down below? You're looking at him, yo. Oh,
Also, I met Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Turns out I'm Vader's son. Brought the
I love how they put in the spoilers thing there.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Just don't mention me,
What the
watch
heck?
please. So what can I say except you're welcome for that saber you got thanks to me. The Force
Wow.
will guide your way. You're welcome. Hey, that's how it goes when you're a prodigy. You're welcome. You're welcome. Well, come to think of it, Ray, honestly, I could go on and on. I could explain even dumb midichlorians. Guiding a missile as tricky as that. Nothing if you can bullseye a womp rat. Han killed a tauntaun, I slept in its guts. Kissed my own sister, which was kinda nuts. What's the lesson? What is the takeaway? Do or do not, cause there is no try anyway. And the legend they tell of my life
Wow.
is an epic of heroes and strife. Me and the Force who make everything happen. Look at R2 and 3PO just tippity tapping and tapping and tapping and tapping and hey!
Pretty good lyrics.
Hey!
It's so good.
Yeah, I'm just happy all of it rhymed really well, but it also had all the topics.
Hey, it's okay, you're welcome. Well, come to think of it, I gotta go. Hey, it's your day to say you're welcome. Just train on this island alone. Chewie jump to hyperspace, you're welcome. Come on, let's blow this thing and go home. You're welcome. Because it's time for the Jedi to end.
Duh. All day.
Like,
Nice.
you know, I'm just slightly worried that that parody was so good that you're probably going to get demonetized now, which means you've successfully demonetized 2 channels, so congratulations.
No, that only
Double
applies to
penny.
YouTube, and Rex doesn't upload there, right?
That is true. I don't upload there. Alright, let's see. I am going to
I-
actually play Punch Club 2 for a little bit while I'm waiting. I'm just going to do that.
It's just so well done. Like the
It is.
lyrics are on point. They make plenty of great references. And I love the story that it's like, all right, and Luke is just leaving Rey on the island and flying off with the Chewie.
Yep. Pretty much pans out like that.
I'm gonna be honest, for like episode 8, that actually would have probably been a very interesting take on Luke, as opposed to being, you know, kind of like, you know, hermit, ashamed, and like old disgruntled individual, just be like, yeah, I'm full of myself and I decided to leave because I have nothing else to prove. That would have been a very interesting take.
Yeah. And actually, I misspoke earlier. It was between whichever one, the end of the one where at the very end of the movie, they revealed Luke, and then...
7.
Okay, so it was between 7 and 8.
Yes. Because 7 just had that, 7 just had Rey getting to the island, and just, having a scene where they're just standing, and she's holding out the lightsaber, and it's lasting for, seemingly way too long, as they're just getting all of these, very cinematic, panoramic, camera angles, just because, they went to, this, UNESCO World Heritage Site monastery or something like that off of, Ireland, and, they just had to, get their money's worth, I guess.
I enjoyed the whole Luke taking the lightsaber and just yeeting it. I enjoyed that, but basically the rest of 8 would have been so much better if, Luke just got on the Millennium Falcon and took off.
I have many things to say about 8, as someone who was not heavily invested into Star Wars, but I think that is not the right time or place for this rant. Because I will be here for the next hour, and you probably want to work on the RAOW system.
I also want to hear this rant.
Yeah,
because I am someone that is very invested in Star Wars, so I want to hear your take as someone that's not invested.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dunbrine wants to hear it too.
Me too.
Okay, hold on. I need tea for this.
It's one of those.
And besides that, Chomper's switching to fighting type.
Plus, my icon is currently ADHD character. These streams usually wind up being ADHD streams. Might as well.
Okay. Okay. So, point of context, I'm culturally illiterate. So, growing up, I was the kind of kid that, hey, we got some new speakers for the TV. Dad's like, okay, you know what? We're going to bring these speakers in, right? Brings up, Star Wars A New Hope. And I'm like, I'm there for the opening credits and probably the opening scenes. And I just want to go upstairs and play some Pokemon. So I never really saw, the Star Wars movie in full. I had seen enough cultural references that I kind of knew the basic gist and, never really felt the need to. But, when the new trilogy came out, I was studying in England at the time, and I saw The Force Awakens, and it was like, okay, this is just basically a heartless, recreation of, A New Hope. Just flashier and big, and, we just gotta, justify, our existence. And then I saw Rogue One. Loved it. Holy heck, that was a good movie.
I will agree. I enjoyed Rogue One a lot.
I haven't seen it yet.
If I recall, it got a lot of backlash, but I personally really liked it.
What I really enjoyed about Rogue One, without going into spoilers, is that they crafted a very logical story that fits in pretty seamlessly, I would say, into A New Hope. Literally, they probably cut the camera, probably 5 minutes before A New Hope starts.
Really? Okay.
And they craft a... They take a line from A New Hope of, what we risked a lot to get these plans, or something along that lines. They took that singular line from A New Hope and expanded it into a movie, they introduced us to new characters that obviously, we hadn't seen before, made you very quickly care about them, and crafted a really wonderful arc that had a satisfying conclusion, because, you had some very subtle callbacks to details in the beginning of the movie that had a satisfying conclusion at the end. And cinematically, it was great.
I will say, sorry to interrupt, but I think one of the biggest problems that people actually have is just the fact that they really did make us love those characters in Rogue One. And then, I know this is spoiler.
Spoilers.
It's...
Oh, I know.
Spoiler warning.
Go ahead, say it.
they all die. Because they weren't in the later movies, so they couldn't keep them around. So they just kill them all. But at the same time, they went out in such a blaze of glory. Like, really fulfilling the whole concept of being part of the rebels. Like, just, they went, because they struck a huge blow to the Empire. It's the entire reason why episode
4 exists, basically.
Yeah, literally.
And like, I since we've obviously we've unspoiled that the decision to like take a cast that had some really good chemistry, and just kill them all at the end, and it makes sense, and like I'm not upset about it. It's just like, damn, you actually you could have very easily have done some weird cop out where you have a ship come down at the last minute and just swoop them all away from certain death, but no, you had a couple of them go out like badasses. Some of them make some very heroic sacrifices, and then the ones that save the day at the end, you just killed anyway. Damn,
yeah, it's pretty bold actually to do that. I'm not sure. Not many movies have done that, but it's happened before. I don't want to name them, but yeah.
I like Dunbrian's comment. Back, Rogue One was a better Suicide Squad than Suicide Squad.
Yeah. So yeah, Rogue One was a really good movie, and at that point, I went into Force Awakens, and I'm like, okay, what, I can vibe with this. It's not I don't dislike it, but the visuals and stuff were cool. But I was like, this is just a rehash of A New Hope. But I'm curious to see where they take it. So I then was back home and I watched The Last Jedi with my family because my dad obviously really enjoyed Star Wars. So I watched The Last Jedi in theater, and I was frustrated. Sparks note, you could have condensed the relevant plot developments of that movie into 20 minutes, and you would have told the exact same story. It was a movie that decided to waste your time purely for the cinematics. Because, the Salt Planet, super cool looking. The whole, I'm going to ram at light speed was really cool. But you set up all these really seemingly important plots that just decided to be psych. It doesn't mean anything.
My
I hate when they don't pay off like that.
My biggest complaint there was the fact that they waited so long to do the hyper. If you could have done that from the start, why didn't you just immediately, instead of waiting and hoping that they don't notice your friends flying off, why did you wait until after they started shooting at your friends to then go and do that? That made no tactical sense.
I'm gonna put a pin in that for the moment, because that is the crux of where I had a problem with The Last Jedi. But let's just start off with the whole Rey and Luke arc. We just get this whole epic of Rey is giving Luke's lightsaber back to him, and he just tossed it over. You know how many people would have died to get their hands on that, just for, I guess, even just for pure money's sake, and it just is not treated with any kind of semblance or importance, which I know is part of the story of the movie in some sense, but it felt insulting to the audience because they'd been hyping up, especially in episode 7, of this is Luke's lightsaber. You're having these weird force visions by touching it, and just toss it over the cliff. It's nothing.
I didn't have a problem with that.
I felt a little bit jarred, and then because basically they had undone a lot of that weird mystique and mystery in episode 7, of like, okay, this is Luke's lightsaber. You know, what's this kind of connection? What does this mean? Who are Rey's parents? Oh, they're nobodies. Like the entire arc of like trying to understand that, yeah, Luke felt shame for basically like not preventing Kylo from going to the dark side. Like, it just felt like, yeah, you just kind of like did a very subpar retelling of A New Hope, and then like undid a lot of that mystery that you were setting up anyway. So like Luke's arc on in that movie just felt like a bit of a waste of time, and then we get to the whole, you know, First Order chasing down the Resistance, and we have the big flagship of the Resistance, or like the bigger ship, and then like the two smaller ships, and you know, oh, there's this new technology that they have a device to track them through light speed or through hyperspace. How do we get around this? And we set up this arc of, okay, well, we are running out of fuel and we're running out of time. We can only stay out of their range so long. So we're gonna do this like side mission to this casino planet. Very cinematic. To like get like that guy to like, what was it, like hack the ship or something? So they can like disable the tracking device. So they go onto the planet. They have like the whole causing chaos with security, setting the animals free, and you know, escaping with the hacker. Meanwhile, oh yeah, like, you know, one of the ships ran out of fuel, and I think like one of the guys was still piloting it. So, you know, you had like that one sad send off of like one of the Resistance fighters as they lose a ship. And then we get more of like the casino thing and more of the Luke arc, and we find out, okay, Rey's parents were nobodies, and you know, okay, that plot hook is like meaningless. And then we get on to like the flagship, and oh yeah, the hacker that the guy spent like the 30 minutes of the movie like getting off the planet, convincing to help them, actually decide to double cross them because hey, the pay's better. So you spent all that time and just spent like doing this secret mission away without getting any permission from like whoever the pink-haired captain of the ship was. I forget her name.
She was a nobody. That's part of the problem.
Yeah, and I was saying, she was introduced. She was antagonizing, you know, to our protagonist. She was antagonizing to Poe, being like, you know, hey, we got to fight, and you know, she obviously, you know, wanted to keep order, but you know, we go through all this. Their like secret plan to, you know, get the hacker failed spectacularly, and like, you know, another ship runs out of fuel, and like this final big ship is running.
Okay, can you guys hear me again? Okay, it looks like you guys should be able to hear me again.
Motivation to watch
So my audio just completely cut out suddenly.
Oh.
Yeah, it took me about a couple of minutes. Back up a bit.
Yeah.
Where were we?
Where did I cut off for you?
Probably about the time where you were you were talking about the pink-haired lady being an antagonist to the protag, and
so you know, she was like and I'm thinking, if I'm like reading the Wikipedia article here, you had I'm assuming that's no, actually no, that is not
Well, while you're looking at that, I will 100% agree with you, Serge. I don't know if that's been addressed, but I agree. If Kylo Ren had been the focus, like instead of it being all about Rey, they made it about Kylo Ren and had it from the view of the Empire or whatever they called them, First Order. That would have been a much better series.
Yeah, I'll actually I'll give my thoughts on that in just a second, but like, so actually I'm looking at here, Vice Admiral Amelin Holdo, if I'm pronouncing that right. If it's any consolation, she's like second from the bottom on the cast on the Wikipedia article. But you know, so like, you know, she's antagonizing, you know, Finn and Poe. It'd basically be like, you know, hey, no, we can't do this. We gotta stay the course. Because obviously the staying the course is, you know, we're going to that salt moon to like hide away because there's a fortified base there. But obviously we can't just let them know that we're going to do that. So, you know, she's just buying time and trying to keep crew morale steady. But, you know, by not telling the plan, she comes across as kind of, you know, a very, very poor leader that, you know, you would very easily rebel against. So we get to, you know, we lose 2 ships. We're down to the main one. The last one's basically out of fuel. And then she decides to show, yep, this is the plan. I'm going to buy you guys time to get to the salt moon by ramming the ship at light speed that we haven't seen in, 8 movies prior? Like, this is just a brand new concept that, yeah, we can send things to hyperspeed. Why haven't we rammed them before? This seems like a pretty good weapon, especially when you're dealing with a giant monstrosity of a ship like that. Like, why didn't we ram the Death Star at light speed?
Yeah.
That would be pretty cool.
Who the hell thought this was a good idea?
The concept of using light speed as a weapon would have definitely been used long ago.
And if this was something that was on your mind to begin with, why didn't you do it with the first freaking ship? You could have caused so much chaos in the fleet, and you would have had a second ship and a third ship to fly light speed. Like, why did you wait till the last one?
Yeah, literally all those ships that you were leaving behind and transferring crew to the main one with, you could have, instead of just emptying them, turned them around and used them as a weapon.
Done fine. The extended universe had a talking wolf, and they got rid of it.
Blasphemy.
And then, you know what? The ship's not entirely disabled anyway. Like, sure, we have this big flashy scene where, you know, you have like the ship gets sent at light speed and you have the things cascading down and and you know, then you just had like, you know, cascading into other ships. It caused like, you know, the sound design was fantastic. I gotta admire that. Like, sound design was actually fantastic. It was very beautiful, but like, it made no sense. And like, the bridge somehow still survived. So, you know, Kylo and Rey can have their fight where they're like fighting over the lightsaber and it blows up in their faces. And like, then like what, Snoke just dies suddenly. I guess like we can't have a big bad for the third movie. And then like
that was another big problem, is just they did no character development. Like the Emperor, we saw him a few times, not much, but at least in the original trilogy, you know. We saw him a few times, but it was enough to give us that good sense. Whereas Snoke, it was just, okay, he's just some weird guy that popped up? Okay. I still have no idea what the hell Snoke was, or who he was, or even if he was a Sith, or anything about him. at all. At least with the Emperor, we got to see him using lightning on, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, also at least had like, you know, a couple movies development where you could see that basically they were playing, you know, multi-dimensional chess. And they made one poor realization that, you know, hey, the bond of a father and son is a bit more powerful than, you know, your control and your words. And that was ultimately the downfall and, you know, what brought balance. But, like, you know, they were smart. They were a good villain. This one, it just seemed like, okay, well, what's your plan? You're just going to use Kylo as, like, a pawn, and you're all in on Kylo. And, like, your hubris was your downfall. And, you know, but, you know, so backtrack a little bit. Like,
Wostein_oil says, the rebels have used the forbidden tactic. Begin Operation Cataclysm.
Yeah. Imagine if in the ninth movie, all of those Star Destroyers just using that. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, so, like, you had... I mean, also... Can we just also, like, do a side tangent? Leia just surviving the vacuum of space due to the Force and just then coming back? Like...
I'm not so against that. Personally.
I'm not so against that, but, like... I feel like... They made a poor decision, but I'm gonna pin that moment because I want to finish the yelly part of the rant. So we spent an entire movie setting up this like plot point of where the First Order can track the Resistance through like, you know, hyperspace, and we're just staying out of range of their weapons, so we have a limited amount of time and a limited amount of fuel, so we can run away from them. So we're gonna do this side plan of hacking their tracking ability that the guy ended up betraying anyway. We're trying to bring Luke back into the Resistance to save the entire galaxy from the First Order, and he's just, you know, a disillusioned, you know, old guy, for lack of a better word. So he doesn't really want to help. So, you know, Rey just has to figure out, yeah, I'm just going to do it myself, I guess. And all that basically gets boiled down to ram the last ship we have at them at hyperspeed. It doesn't stop them from still following the shuttles, destroying the shuttles, and somehow not destroying the shuttles that have our main protagonist on them. As they get to the Salt Moon, very cinematic fight with all these speeders on the Salt Moon, and they still this like reinforced bunker of a base. Oh, they just have a laser that can shoot through it anyway, because they're the First Order, and we need to have like a big fight there, and also just like show this weird force projection power that hasn't been teased at all in the movie, but it's cinematic because we have Luke there. And then despite all that, all the fighting stuff, we have just a couple, you know, Resistance fighters that escape on like the Millennium Falcon, and that's it. That's the movie. Like, why did we have the whole casino arc?
Yeah.
It was pointless.
They don't really
Cut
do
it all
too
out
many...
and literally wouldn't change the movie at all.
And like, I also feel like they would have probably have. There are two things that would have been better for the movie, and they're both contradictory. One, it's very clear with like episode 8, looking at episode 7, that they didn't have a plan for the trilogy. You know, they changed directors, and a lot of the interesting setups, you know, like who are Rey's parents, you know, this connection with the lightsaber, who is, you know, why did Kylo turn to the dark side? Who is Supreme Leader Snoke? And like, how did, you know, a seemingly galaxy at peace after the events of episode 6 end up into basically, you know, the Empire, but bigger and badder because, oh no, we don't have a planet-destroying Death Star. We have a, like, star system destroying planet.
Yeah.
It's like, how did this happen? You kind of need to have like a movie or a series or something to show how did we go from 6 to 7.
But when it comes to space stuff, one thing I liked was the new Guardians of the Galaxy. I think that went well. It's they had to talk about something like that. I have I can't really say anything about Star Wars.
I still have to watch. I still have to watch Volume 3, but like ultimately for like Star Wars, the new Star Wars trilogy, they really needed to have a broad plan that did not rely on nostalgia, because it feels like a big part of their like trying to draw people into the new trilogy was like, oh yeah, you remember Luke? You remember like, hey, remember these guys? Like, they're old now. Like, you remember Han? Remember Leia? They're old. But they're still somehow the most important people in the galaxy.
Jedi status.
Yeah. And like I feel like they ultimately put themselves in a bit of a corner because, you know, I mean, unfortunately we did lose Carrie Fisher, you know, a year before the movie released. But in the same vein, I feel like if you're setting yourself up where, you know, Carrie Fisher and Leia are going to be a somewhat integral part of the 9th movie, they had plenty of opportunities to like essentially like remove her character from the storyline in episode 8 that would have felt somewhat meaningful, and rewritten some of Luke's scenes to have Luke be the person in the ninth movie, because you know killing off Luke and then, you know, not having Leia be a part of episode 9 in a, you know, a more fulfilling way. Obviously, and I've not seen the 9th movie, so, you know, someone's probably looking at this and being like, you know, you idiot, you don't know what you're talking about, and hey, I respect that. But like, it just ultimately
they lost a lot of the legacy, right?
I wouldn't necessarily say that, but it felt like, you know, big parts of episode 7 were focused on Han and, you know, Han's legacy and impact on the world, and how that ultimately came to a I guess like a very, you know, unglorious end.
I gotta say, I find it morbidly hilarious how the only one that survived the new trilogy is the one that is dead IRL.
That is wild.
Because they killed off Han, they killed off Luke, and yet Leia's still alive.
Huh.
Rank up. Hold the line. This hamlet shall not fall.
Oh, it was Ray, wasn't it?
Look, it Sim raided my stream with 6 viewers.
Kitsu! Hello there! How was your stream? Would you like a random clip or a regular shout out? And welcome in, everybody. I was planning to work on our RAOW system here, and yet we're off in ADHD land ranting about Star Wars right now. Spoiler warning if you haven't seen them, but, well, frankly, if you haven't seen it by now, you probably weren't planning to see it anyways, so...
And don't give Disney your money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably a downhill spiral whenever Disney started getting it.
By all means, support them for Rogue One. That was a good movie. The new trilogy, no. But let's see this clip.
Damn. Oh my gosh.
Also, Zeta, we gotta go back to Power Wash.
I know the new update coming out at the end of the month.
But yeah, that's a side point.
Hey, look, until like Disney decides to come up with a big wad of cash and say, hey, we're gonna turn your tabletops into like a multi-season, animated show, and you guys can voice act, then obviously don't give them money.
No,
but I can't be bribed. I'm just stating my terms now. I can be bribed. Just give me the Mystery Dungeon TV show that I always wanted.
Well, that's not Disney. That's Nintendo.
Disney has the money to buy out Nintendo rights.
They do
I don't know. They're both
money.
pretty strong. Yeah, Nintendo is one of those that they will choose not to a lot of the time, especially since they've been probably burned by a lot of different companies already.
Valid.
Fun fact, I'm pretty sure Nintendo's also been around longer than Disney has.
Oh yeah, you got to think about it. They're a toy company. They've been around in Japan longer than you've seen them in consoles. Yeah. They make a lot of gambling stuff, low key, if I recall right.
Nintendo was founded as Nintendo Karuta on the 23rd of September, 1889.
Wowzers.
So, yeah, they're definitely not selling out to somebody that came by almost 50 years later, because Disney started in 1923.
Valid. And also, just to wrap up my point very quickly, I feel like the new trilogy would have ultimately severely benefited from a coherent vision, because Episode 7 felt like a overreaction to all the feedback of the first two trilogies. But playing it safe. We're just gonna do our own thing, play it safe. Episode 8 felt like a very much a response to Episode 7 of like, oh, he wants to do something different. We're gonna do something very different. We're gonna subvert our expectations. Oh, you think Luke's gonna be badass and save the day? No, he's just disillusioned and old. Oh, you think people still want to help and stop the First Order? No, they're just gonna betray the first thing. Oh, you think the heroes are just barely gonna get out? No, they're just still gonna get shot at. And then from what I've read of Episode 9, it's just oh, well, we kind of tossed out all this mystery and character development that we probably could have done. Oh yeah, let's quickly add some character points here that we haven't alluded to in the first two movies, but it totally explains everything that we did, guys. And we're gonna bring back characters who you thought were dead, but we need them for the plot anyway. So yeah, CGI, yeah. You want 1,000 ships? Sure, let's have 1,000 ships. You want to have an epic water fight? Yeah. Who cares if we haven't set anything up for the first two movies? It's just try to make things work. Disney says as they're tossing money down the garbage and ruining a franchise that they made a lot of money for.
They're still doing well, I feel, with the shows.
But see, there's a fundamental problem that Disney's, putting themselves in with Disney Plus and the shows is that it's content saturation. I think Marvel's actually a really good case in point for this. Is that back when the Marvel Cinematic Universe first started. You had maybe one or two movies a year, and they were big events. They were big talked about events because they were good movies. The quality was good, the storytelling was for the most part good. You had to do some of your duds here and there, but they were good, well-crafted movies that felt like they were building towards something, and that ultimately. Pardon?
Oh, sorry, I got kicked out of my game. I was gonna win. Dang it.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's go carry on, sorry.
Also, Dumb Brand I sent you a DM. because I just remember this one character because I actually used that art as like a profile picture on TeamSpeak for a good while. But yeah, like then we had like expanding the universe with Phase 2 and Phase 3 ending with Avengers: Infinity War and Endgame. It felt like we had like all this year of storytelling built up to 2 very awesome movies. And then we get to Phase 4, and oh my god, let me look at the Wikipedia article for Phase 4, because we just went into content overload with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. God damn it,
One
internet.
of the biggest problems with the Marvel itself is the fact that, like, we were running into this with Doctor Strange. I wanted to see Doctor Strange too, and yet people were. I was told very firmly that I need to go watch WandaVision before I go watch Doctor Strange 2, because all of them are so interconnected. And it's like, I only have so much time and energy to watch this stuff.
Yeah, they tried to make a whole universe that connected, and I mean, I gotta give them credit. Like, they're trying to do it for movies. They want to do like what comic books do, like has an interconnected universe and whatnot. But when it starts becoming where you have to watch a TV show to really appreciate certain scenes in a movie, when the TV show's long like that, yeah, I feel you there. It was a good show, by the way. The WandaVision actually was probably better than, and I'm biased, I actually love the Doctor Strange movie because it was directed by one of my favorite directors who made Evil Dead, but I would not like be like, you have to watch all of WandaVision to enjoy this movie, you have to. That just seems like a big ask for when it comes to time management.
Yeah, but I mean, like, the...
So, real quick, Kitsu is saying they basically ignored what happened in the show for that movie, in referring to WandaVision and Doctor Strange 2. Apparently they were written at basically the same time, and the writers didn't communicate.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? It feels close like that, because like it feels like the character arc for Wanda is a bit different from when she ends up, in a way. Yeah.
Yeah, because like is it okay if I talk about like my? Because I've seen. I'm just gonna say spoilers now for like WandaVision and Doctor Strange 2. Like,
all right, WandaVision, Doctor Strange 2 spoilers. Everybody, is this chill vibe? We talking about movies, so if you have not seen that, mute out for like a bit and come back in a bit.
By the way, Kitsu, you're welcome to come join voice. By the way.
Yeah, I'm literally just playing like idle games for me. By the way, if you do that thing where you pop out like a video on your stream, like so you have like 2 things going, I'm just literally playing random stuff. Going playing a hockey puck game.
I am going to bring up something that Woe shared with me in DMs, just because it is funny, and I enjoy it. I've seen it before.
Is it the Death Star video?
Yeah.
Okay, I was meaning
okay, never mind. My browser isn't. Hold on. My browser is not cooperating with me.
Oh yeah, what game is this? Give me a second. It is Omega Strikers, what I'm playing. It's actually a free-to-play game. If you're a fan of hockey games, I would suggest it. It's actually pretty decent. Oh my gosh.
Okay, I got it figured out. But yeah, I'm gonna bring up the a Dorkly video. I enjoy Dorkly. They are great.
They are
fantastic. Actually, I bought the subscription so I can watch their TV show. I'm pretty sure you watched it, the one where they constantly make games and just like make up different things. Let me know when you start the video.
I've heard of it.
You haven't? Oh, we should. Yeah, that's a good one.
Well, right now I'm wanting to go back and watch the original series of Star Wars.
Yeah, those are good.
This will be the last Stream Raiders battle for the evening, everybody. But yeah. Let me bring this up real quick, and then we can get back to the rant.
Hey guys, it's me, the architect behind the exhaust ports on the Death Star. I know. What a stupid design flaw. You're single-handedly responsible for the destruction of our ultimate weapon. I've heard it all. I've gotten a lot of guff from my superiors since the Death Star blew up about my shoddy design. I've been force choked.
So, back to the rant.
Okay, so the rant, like, I don't know if I want to start with Star Wars or go right back to Marvel. Like,
we'll go back to Marvel, finish that up, and then back to Star Wars.
Yeah. So, like, someone in chat, like, you know, if I'm incorrect on something, please correct me on the details. But basically, how you can summarize WandaVision as a series, and it's a really good series, like, the creative decisions they made, especially in the first few episodes where they're basically, like, mimicking all these different eras of, like, you know, comedies, like sitcoms on television, are actually, like, on point. Like, the costume design, the, you know, even, like, the aspect, like, the screen aspect ratio, like, this is all on point. Really cool creative stuff. And, like, actually, in my view, really highlighted what a show in the Marvel Universe could do on Disney+. It's like, okay, this is a really good, strong start. And the entire arc is unraveling this mystery because, like, every time you start a new episode, you're in a different era, and you realize that, yeah, Wanda's the one that's actually controlling all of this because she was traumatized as a child because of the war that was, you know, back in, you know, that was, you know, where her character got introduced in, you know, the second Avengers movie, Age of Ultron. You know, her family used to watch sitcoms, and that was how they learned English. So that was, like, kind of her, like, safe space. So she's mourning the loss of Vision from Avengers Infinity War, and this is her safe space because she had a mental breakdown. And you're the kind of the actual antagonist of the show is Agatha, who is basically, like, taking advantage of this and wants to steal Wanda's power. So you have, like, this weird dichotomy of Wanda getting over her grief. She kept an entire town hostage for a little bit, and you know, we're just gloss over that. And an old witch who wants to basically steal her power. And you have a bunch of side characters from Sword, one of who is going to be in a movie later, who are like trying to uncover what's going on, free the town, and, you know, help out. And, you know, okay, at the end of the day, town's freed. There's a resurrected kind of Vision who, like, doesn't really have, like, the strong connection, but goes off and decides to do his own thing. I don't think we've even heard of them in the last 2 years. Yeah, Wanda's like, you know what? I don't understand these powers that I have, but you know what? I'm going to go control them. And she's in the post-credit scene, often somewhere reading The Darkhold, which is the Book of the Damned, and that's where we end the movie. And we start off with Doctor Strange. You know, a Doctor Strange died because we're in the multiverse now. That's a can of worms that we probably shouldn't have opened up. And there's a hero that can jump between that, and they're being chased by monsters. And our Doctor Strange from the universe that we've met in the cinematic universe encounters this multi-dimensional hopper, fights the monsters, and decides, I'm going to go seek out Wanda. And basically calls Wanda out on her lie because realizes, yep, she's manipulating reality. And, oh, actually, no, she's just been corrupted by the Darkhold, and she is actually the one sending all the monsters and just wants to go to a universe that actually has her made-up children that she made up in the television show, but to a reality where they actually exist. So she's, like, made a weird 180 to be the antagonist because she's just, like, gone from very logical, you know what, I've gotten over, like, I think I will start moving past the loss of Vision and realizing that I can't, like, force myself to stay in this reality, to I've been corrupted by this book I was told was bad, and now I'm just gonna blindly go after a reality where I can have kids with Vision. It's like, okay, so what did WandaVision accomplish for her character arc, as opposed to giving her a badass costume that looks really good on camera and like is a bit more comic accurate. So yeah, like they didn't talk to each other. Because we also had like this badass scene where we bring in like, Professor Xavier and, whoever, Reed Richards of the Fantastic Four, and we have some alternative reality characters like, Captain Carter, basically, Peggy Carter, but with super soldier serum. It's like, yeah, we just gave these alternate user characters like 5 minutes of screen time before we killed them. Because like they just didn't trust that Wanda was a threat, even though they could have very easily contained her. But no, we can handle the little witch. You're Doctor Strange. You're the more dangerous one. All of them die. Like, and I'm actually like was looking in here because like Loki was also very interesting in terms of like doing this kind of like time variance shenanigans things. Falcon the Winter Soldier was also a very good start because, like, hey, we need to address the whole, like, Captain America's basically, like, gone into the past, and so we don't have a Captain America. What does the shield mean? Really, really interesting starts. And then we have What If, awesome. Moon Knight, creative, bold, and, probably a good place for a TV show where you can kind of, like, tap into a lesser-known character. Ms. Marvel, also pretty good. Hawkeye, She-Hulk, like, they have their strong points. Probably worked well as TV shows. And then we get to the movies. Like, Black Widow, you start off your Phase 4 movies with a character that died. How are people supposed to be hyped about a movie that happens in between two key events and the character has died? Sure, like, you have good character development and stuff like that, but, like, okay, how do you get hyped for this? Then you have, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Not a bad movie, just, obviously, it's a phase-building movie. Eternals should have been a TV show. Spider-Man, No Way Home, actually really good.
Oh yeah, that one was really good.
I liked it.
But then you get to Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, and it's like, okay, so we've taken the character development from WandaVision and we're not incorporating anything else except maybe like actually no, the post-credit scenes with Wong was in Shang-Chi. Never mind, so yeah, nothing happens there. Thor: Love and Thunder, I actually watched this. It was a solid movie, but like it didn't really need to happen. And then we have Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and obviously, they got a bit of a short change there, but, I think they did a really good job. But the problem is, this was all of Phase 4. What did this lead up to? Phase 1 ended with Avengers, and then we had, like, Avengers Age of Ultron, Avengers Civil War, and, then we obviously had Infinity War and Endgame. Like, these stories had these contracting moments where you had the bigger threat where everyone come together, but it seemed like everyone was keen just to do their own thing for the entire phase. And you had all these content, like TV shows and movies, and what's the point? What does this lead up to? And I'm looking at Phase 5, and like Phase 5 started with like Ant-Man Quantumania, which was supposed to set up like I guess like Kong as like the big bad person, and okay, how does Guardian Galaxy 3 the Marvels, which looks fun, but like, how does this fit in? Deadpool 3 somehow. Captain America Brave New World. Thunderbolts, I don't even know what that is. Blade movie, apparently in pre-production.
I mean, to be fair with Deadpool, everybody else is connected, but it's really hard to really consider Deadpool as part of the MCU just because everyone else is doing their stuff and he's off doing his own thing. Is he actually going to be brought into the main MCU, or like has that?
I can see this is Deadpool. I can see them doing that. I can just see them just like multiverse portal, and they're just like, yep, we're just going to cause chaos here. But like, so TV shows. Secret Invasion, which obviously probably, in my view, probably should have been a movie, like a phase arc that ends up with like a big Secret Invasion battle thing, not a 6-part spy thriller without any of the spy or thriller. Loki season 2, because it did well. I don't know. Ironheart, they decided to rush, her character introduction into Wakanda Forever before giving her the TV show, so she's just kind of there. Agatha was a good character, so they just decide, hey, you get a TV show. Daredevil coming back, and then, What If season 2, it's like, where is the plan? Where's the story arc? Because, like, I feel like they are inundating everyone with content to the point where even people who really enjoyed the movies feel the need to skip out. Like, okay, at least to my knowledge, we've not seen anything of, like Bucky or Sam since, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And, their stuff was 2 years ago. Do I need to care about watching some of the other stuff? Because, like, obviously they're not getting the cameos, they're not building in there. Apparently, like, some spoilers in Secret Invasion that, means that some of the character development that we saw afterwards may have been a bit questionable. So-and-so is a Skrull. But yeah, like, if they're trying to build towards Kong being a big bad, but, like, the really evil thing of, or like, I guess, like, the beautifully evil thing of the first 3 phases of the Marvel Cinematic Universe is that you were slowly introducing the idea of the Infinity Stones. Like, in, Captain America, the First Avenger, the Tesseract ended up being the Space Stone. So, a big integral part of, Captain America, of the first Avengers movie was actually an Infinity Stone. The Scepter, also an Infinity Stone. We do Guardians of the Galaxy. They have this Power Stone. Doctor Strange. Yeah, the Eye of Agamotto actually holds the Time Stone. So we sprinkled in these little bits of plot development, and all that we really were missing was actually, what was the Reality Stone was in the Thor movie, and what's the Soul Stone? So the Soul Stone was the only thing we were missing. Everything else had an Infinity Stone, like, tied into it loosely. Like, obviously they were messing with, the Mind Stone from the Scepter, and that gave us Age of Ultron. So, like, the Infinity Stones were kind of ingrained in the overall storytelling, especially for the big movies. And you kind of got the realization that, yeah, Thanos was kind of playing the pulling some of the strings.
You okay?
Man, if you saw that bout, I basically had a hockey match that lasted like for 10 minutes in one session. Everybody's hyper-powered. Sorry, I had to concentrate. If you were watching the stream, you know what was happening. No, I'm good.
Oh, good.
Fair enough.
Yeah. But yeah, like, they spent their time, especially in the later parts of Phase 3, kind of tying everything together to kind of set you up for, yes, this was the moment that Thanos decided to strike to get all the Infinity Stones to do his plan. And he succeeded. What a way to end a movie. The bad guy wins. And then, we have the intro movie to, like, set up, one of the core, plot elements that would be in a factor in Endgame. The whole, quantum realm thing. You can kind of, like, use that to traverse a little bit. The time dilation thing. And, like, Endgame, set things up and turn things around. But Phase 4 had no vision. Like, they decided, we're just going to make content because we can make content. As I said, Eternals would have probably been better to be a TV show since you had so many different characters and you were introducing, like, how many, like, millennia of lore for these characters in a movie. That's where you do the TV shows. So, like,
Yeah.
I really enjoyed, like, what I've seen of the Marvel movies. I really like, Iron Man and Doctor Strange's characters. But, like, content overload, like, Doctor Strange, okay, we just decide, yeah, you held the Darkhold for a little bit to use some of the power, and okay, Third Eye, and what are these incursions, and who the hell are you at the end of the scene? Character griefing of Lost Phase 3? Yeah, I can kind of see that. But they decided to go full, like, 6th gear on producing content, and it's just too much to keep up on. The idea of, like, when we looked at the TV shows, we had, like, what, a week break between WandaVision and Falcon Winter Soldier, and then, like, a month in between Falcon Winter Soldier and Loki, and then, like, a month after that between Loki and What If, and then Hawkeye started, a month and a half after What If, and then we had 3-month reprieve before Moon Knight, and then a month reprieve before we got Miss Marvel. Like, it's just way too much content, especially since these guys are putting, content out basically weekly, which is, smart for the streaming service, but, like, it is pure content overload.
And the big problem here is that is so many writers working on so many different projects. You're gonna run it. I would be like, I have not seen most of those things. I didn't even know Moon Knight was a thing, or the Hawkeye show. It's like you're gonna. I would be shocked if there are no continuity errors from them. Because you just cannot keep that many different writers on the same page at the same time.
And also your animators, your special effects artists, and you're also burning through content. Like, Secret Invasion, as I said, should have been a multi... it could have been your big, phase 4, phase 5 kind of arc where, hey, something's not quite right, and okay, there's a scroll here, there's a scroll there, and you start building up to a big thing, but you turned it all hush hush. We can't involve the Avengers on this. A particular problem, and this is kind of where I transition a bit to Star Wars, is that when you're inundating content and diluting the content, not all of it's going to be good. You're going to have your hits and misses. And when you start having more misses because you're deciding to pump out the content, then people are going to be more inclined to skip out on the content going forward.
Secret Invasion was also laughable in that basically every character that wasn't Nick Fury was a Skrull, so it wasn't even a mystery who was a Skrull and who wasn't. To be fair, they kind of pulled that before with the Hydra stuff. I remember seeing something where it was basically just Nick Fury is the only one at S.H.I.E.L.D. that's not part of Hydra.
Also, Secret Invasion was 6 episodes.
6 episodes?
Just 6 episodes.
I kind of saw that and it looked kind of interesting just because, I like Samuel L. Jackson, seeing him and stuff. I think that was his own, show, right? The one where, he's trying to stop the invasion of that.
All the higher... I remember there was some, a show or a movie or something where it was basically just Nick Fury finding out that all of the higher-ups at S.H.I.E.L.D. were Hydra. Maybe I'm misremembering, or maybe it was one of those random other Marvel things that didn't have anything to do with the MCU.
Basically, a non-significant chunk of Hydra was actually within S.H.I.E.L.D., to the point where basically S.H.I.E.L.D. as an organization was fully compromised because you had enough people and enough manpower to basically hijack 3 helicarriers and decide, yeah, if we succeed on this plan, we're just going to preeminently just destroy people who we think are risks. Like, yeah, like you basically had to rely on like two of the higher ups still surviving the events of the movie to like actually override a director level authorization.
And those contracts for like Marvel movies must be long.
Oh yeah, that is one of the things, like,
Like, you have to be here for this movie, then this movie 5 years, and if you have like, any family members, they have to be in a movie too. If you have a dog, they're in a movie. You have to keep the canon going. For like 15 TV shows.
Yeah, no, they were like, some of the later deals were multi-movie, like, 3 movies, maybe an ensemble movie, and like I don't even want to imagine like some of the TV show contracts now. Like it's kind of crazy.
Most of the actors had like 8+ movie contracts. Oof.
Yeah, I can see why somebody would want to get out of that kind of stuff. I can see why, Captain America. It's like, oh, I'm good.
And I mean, like, honestly, like, I have to applaud like the end of Endgame. Is that like, yeah, you had Chris Evans, get a happy ending as Captain America. And Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man, actually has the heroic sacrifice. Like, sure, we're probably upset that we lost those characters, but we're kind of happy for their arcs. Like, their arcs probably were going to end that way.
Yeah, if they kept going with them, it'd have been excessive. Then they
want
to go do more movies too.
I mean, like, look, like, you kind of had to stop Iron Man at some point because, like, he had freaking nano energy suit, like. There's only so many times you can one-up that before he just starts becoming the bad guy, causing more Ultron-level problems.
Well, doesn't he, like, have that in comics? He eventually does have, like, well, at least multiverses of him that are, like, evil.
Yeah.
Right.
To be fair,
I kind of wanted them to see it. Oh.
There are comics of Marvel where they are all furries. So it's hard to really reference the comics on things when it is so spread out, and they literally are just like, yeah, so just to preserve some continuity, this is happening in this metaverse, and that's happening in that metaverse, and that metaverse, and that metaverse. Hello there, Capital 11, welcome. And that metaverse, and that metaverse.
Yeah, and they definitely have made 2 very big missteps. Just in terms of, like, they unfortunately, like, for better or for worse, they solved their endgame crisis with time travel. But a really interesting take on time travel. Where, like, you aren't really undoing the past, but, like, you could potentially screw it up if you, like, don't put things back where they were. But, you do the combination of time travel, which, like, the technology is still kind of there. And then also multiverse, you have kind of taken this, like, you kind of taken some of the stakes out of it, admittedly. Because, now going forward, almost any problem you can face, you can kind of ask, like, well, hey, why don't they just go back in time and fix this? Or why don't they, like, just bring in some more help from, like, another multiverse Doctor Strange? Like, why don't they do this? I mean, obviously, like, they've kind of set up a little bit of, like, a potential, like, okay, Doctor Strange, don't do this because it could cause realities to collapse, but, like, they kind of just gloss over that, relatively speaking. It's weird, but ultimately, it's just way too much content, and not all of it is, like, worth watching. So when you're asking people, hey, keep up to date on, like, everything that's happening in the Marvelverse, like, it's just thousands of hours of content that not everyone's going to enjoy, but apparently you need to watch it all. And so they need to do a serious, like, slow down the acceleration, come back, and, like, figure out a plan, because I'm looking at the movies and shows they have laid out for Phase 5, and I'm like, why did Phase 5 start off with trying to set up Kang as the big baddie with Quantumania? Because I don't see, Kang in any of these movies going forward.
Yeah, they've at this point they are trying to milk it for as much money as they can get. I will try to go see Deadpool 3 in theaters when it comes out. But it has been so long since I've bothered with any of the other Marvel movies. Because Deadpool at least is a... Like, Deadpool is separated from the rest of the MCU. And there's also the fact that he is just... The movies themselves are separated. Like, from what I understand from the background of the movies even getting produced in the first place, it was Ryan, what's his face? Ryan Reynolds? I don't know. The actor for Deadpool. And the actor for Hugh Jackman, you know, they were the ones that mostly funded it from what mostly Hugh Jackman, but they're the ones that funded it happening, not Disney.
So, like, it feels like they've entered the phase where it's like, okay, well, hey, we just, like, made, like, the biggest selling movie in history with our franchise, so, like, let's be a little bit risky. But they decided just to toss stuff against the wall without actually having a plan for it. Like, Eternals. You just had a giant, like, celestial start coming out of the fucking earth, and it's just there. And no one's talked about it. In any of the other movies, you'd think like a giant, like, mountain-sized humanoid coming out of, like, the freaking, like, ocean would be a big, noteworthy event that, you know, probably people want to talk about or address. But no! You had a giant alien appear in the sky, and no one's talking about it.
I gotta say, to give them credit where credit's due, did you see the shit that was happening in 2020? It was like every time you turned on the news, some other crazy bullshit was going on.
You know, valid. You know, very, very valid.
And like, at one point, people are just like, oh, really? Okay. Whatever. And that's literally what's going on with the MCU. You know, you got Thanos snapping away half the universe. You got giant alien head in the sky. You've got the whole Doctor Strange everything going on. It's just, at this point, those poor people in the freaking MCU, those random civilians are probably just like, okay, I'm just gonna go work my 9 to 5 and hope that today they don't blow up this building.
Yeah, at that point, I bet insurance is so high. Oof. Sheesh.
It's like they've ultimately have lost that, like, big guiding vision that, like, helps keep you hyped for the movie. I mean, like, and also look, Phase 3, you start off with the Captain America Civil War, the fraction of the Avengers that sets you up for, you know, Thanos coming through. Doctor Strange with the Time Stone, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Spider-Man Homecoming because, hey, we need to get Spidey in there. Thor Ragnarok because we need to weaken we need to, like, you know, weaken those guys a little bit. Black Panther there and there because we know we need to introduce an awesome new character. And then get Infinity War. Everyone's fractured but whole. You know, then we have Ant-Man and Captain Marvel get there to kind of introduce some plot points for Endgame. Cool. And then Spider-Man from Far From Home to kind of, like, deal with some of the aftermath there. But, like, the aftermath doesn't really get super addressed in Phase 4, at least from what I've seen. Like, it's kind of like not much of a talking point. I may be wrong. I may be entirely wrong. If someone's wrong, please tell me, because I'm glad to be wrong there. But, like, the aftermath of, like, people just disappearing for 5 years and coming back just kind of feels like it got glossed over in, like, the main plot points.
I can't even follow 90% of what's going on. I got another rant about the... I've got my own rant about Civil War, particularly where Iron Man and Captain America wound up on that whole thing, but, you know.
Yeah, from what I've seen a bit of, the comic book version of all that had a lot more neater points and was a lot more cleaner. That one, I mean, they had to make it into a movie, so they had to cut a lot of corners, but if you're a fan of the comic, I think a lot of people got disappointed, if I recall.
And our kids are saying the 5-year skip has definitely played a part in a lot of Phase 4. Fair, respect that. And actually, I'm thinking about that now. Yeah, like the whole 5-year gap was a bigger part in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but like it seemed like it was kind of glossed over some of the other ones. But yeah, I will concede on that. But yeah, they've lost the vision. They've lost the. They've decided to go from a nice massaging shower head to just let's just take the shower head off and just let all the water out. Sure, you're getting more wet, but it doesn't feel satisfying.
So my big rant with Civil War, aside from, you know, it not being good, appropriate with the comics and such, was you have Tony Stark and Captain America, you know, Iron Man and Captain America. Iron Man, who is this multi-million or multi-billion dollar, however fucking rich he is, this guy who has definitely been a rebel against basically everything. That is who he is. He does not, like, he runs this corporation. He does not care about, he's cut corners. He's pulled off some of those shady deals. He's sold weapons. And yet he's all for signing these accords? Meanwhile, on the other side of the table, you've got the model soldier of Captain America. Like, this guy that was so heavily, like, you guys have all heard about, you know, military training. Good soldiers follow orders. That is ingrained into them in the actual military. Why is he against the Accords and Iron Man is for them?
You know what? Actually, I have a valid counterpoint to this. I see where you're coming from, absolutely, but I think it's actually the reverse of their character arcs, because let's take a look at Iron Man's arc for go on.
Quick, I just want to respond to Kitsu. I know that it's in the comics, yes, Kitsu, but in the movies, like, yeah, for him actually signing up, he wasn't a model soldier, but in the, you know, overall, he was all about being that model soldier, that model citizen.
Yeah, and at least for me, I think the fundamental shift that they're going for is that, like, you know, Captain America started off in the army and made independent decisions and is probably being most impacted by the events of the Winter Soldier, where, you know, you have this essentially this faith and this trust in the overarching authority when it finds out that, yeah, the authority you trusted in actually was corrupt and was just manipulating you for their own gains. So you got to take things into your own hands. And so when the Accords come along, Captain America is like, well, no, this is just going to be another organization. This is going to be another bureaucracy that is going to potentially get corrupted. The safer hands are our own. I'm not going to sign them because I'm not going to be another pawn for, you know, hurting innocent people. Where Tony's arc, you know, starts from, you know, the weapons manufacturer rebel doing his own thing and slowly getting curtailed in Iron Man, a little bit of Iron Man 3, but also having that reality hit in with Age of Ultron, where he's going on this arc realizing that, hey, I really shouldn't be doing what I want because I have people around me that care about me, and you know what? I probably need to have a little bit of a leash to control, this, because if I just go do what I want, I'm going to create another Ultron. So, Captain America is thinking about, the corrupt, authorities that, basically, Hydra are taking over S.H.I.E.L.D. and seeing a potential of that happening again with these Accords. And Tony's thinking about the guilt of basically creating Ultron because he just did what he wanted. Okay, thus, yeah, we kind of need these Accords just so I have a bit of a leash so I don't go crazy and start hurting people. So I can see why they were on the sides that they were on, even though initially the characters would have been more on the other sides.
Fair enough. But back to the problem, or they had pointed the other stuff.
Yeah. I just thought it was a very interesting counterpoint to make there. Because I also see where you're coming from. But I think it could have definitely been presented a little bit better.
Hello.
Hello? Please save my throat.
Hello.
Why are you not a Pokemon? Where's the Pokemon,
Pokemon
right?
characters.
We need to zap them. You're outnumbered.
But, well, we do need to zap him, but we'll worry about that later.
Yes. So please continue.
What were you coming to say, Kitsu?
Nothing. I finally got free.
Oh, fair enough.
But yeah, no, Steve has never been a mall soldier, and he was always just like on the side of the people. He's never cared for the government.
Yeah, fair.
No, Spooky, I'm not playing Unite. I was trying to see how Pokemon Puzzle League was going right now. Though they added Pokemon Stadium 2 onto the N64 store.
Circling back around to the Star Wars.
Disney fucked up Mandalorian Season 3 for sure.
I haven't seen Mandalorian Season 3. I liked Mandalorian. It was a little odd, but I still enjoyed it.
The biggest problem with Season 3 of Mandalorian was that Disney forced Grogu to go immediately back to Din Djarin.
I'm terrible with names. Also, good night, Chris Ovos.
Grogu is Baby Yoda. Din Djarin is the Mandalorian.
Ah.
So that emotional finish to Season 2, completely erased.
Just love when that happens.
And the writers and director for Mandalorian had no idea what the fuck they wanted to do with Baby Grogu or Baby Yoda because they had nothing for them to do in Season 3 because they're like, you're not supposed to be here.
Wait, what? He starts off at the beginning as part of... Hold on, he wasn't supposed... What?
In Season 3, the Baby Yoda character was never supposed to be back with the Mandalorian so fast.
They did it for the sake of how cute he was, right? The memes, he was blowing up. So they
during the Boba Fett show, they immediately had Baby Yoda go back to the Mandalorian.
Also, be right back for a moment. I really use the bathroom.
They have been flopping so bad on so many shows lately.
Overall, I still enjoyed Season 3 of Mandalorian, but it was still just why the fuck is Baby Yoda here?
Like, I love Star Wars. And if you look at the movies and such by themselves, you know, in an echo chamber, like Episode 8, that hyperlane attack thing, or the hyperspace attack thing, that was cool.
Yeah.
The effects were cool. It's just everything else surrounding that was awful.
Still a better movie than the ninth one, though.
Red. If you want to redeem me to a cloister, you can.
The ninth one was...
Episode 9 was, god-awful.
Yeah...
Oh, hey, a bunch of people on Reddit complain. Let's give in to every single one of their demands.
Yeah, why did they bring him back?
I don't know, they couldn't let Kylo Ren be the villain, just be the villain for whatever reason.
Speaking of Pokemon, have you got your free Mew yet, Rex? Also, Mewtwo raid started in 16 hours. Oh, I might need to try that. I have not played Scarlet in a bit, actually.
And I do love how the message sent across the universe for Palpatine coming back was played exclusively in Fortnite.
Oh, that is weird. Just to even hear exclusivity for Fortnite. It's cool to see like Dragon Ball, Super being in there for like the characters, but to make like something exclusive in Fortnite, just excuse the word.
It's just like what was this message across the universe that was like told to us in the ninth movie? Oh, it was something that was shown exclusively in Fortnite. It's just like why was that in Fortnite?
Yeah.
I mean, okay, whatever. It was in Fortnite. But don't make it exclusive.
Yeah, I'm okay with it being in there. The fact that it's... Okay, I'm going to be clear. I was going to say cringe, but I actually play Fortnite. It's a good game. The fact that you made it exclusive into a game, and that's that's cringe. That's just business, and I think business stuff is cringe. Oh, shit. Ooh.
But it was their marketing hype. Probably. That's what they'd say.
Oh, got it. That was close. You know what I really wish? Oh, what happened?
Okay, no,
I wish...
I thought my mic was being weird when I realized I actually forgot I didn't unmute, but I was gonna say I'm back. What was the brief point I was missing while I was gone?
Just that the message that Palpatine had returned was played only in Fortnite.
I was talking about them having a lack of vision for the new trilogy, and I think that kind of highlights it right there. You should have teased at the end of episode 7 that Palpatine's actually might not be dead, or at least just play recording.
That wasn't the original plan. They brought him back just because they killed Snoke.
Yeah. So you had no vision for this trilogy. You don't introduce a character and then kill him in the next one and then realize, wait, we could have used them. Well, let's just dust off this other character for nostalgia.
Also, while people seem to be kind of okay with episode 7, episode 7 was the safest, most nostalgic bait movie possible. That's all it was.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they did nothing new with it. They did nothing different. It was purely just a cash grab. If you saw the original, you saw that one.
it's just like, hey, can I like borrow your homework, but just change a few details so the teacher doesn't notice.
Like, and like one of the things I hated most with episode 9 was that they had to make Rey somebody. I fucking hated that so fucking much.
Commit
I love
to
the
the
fact
bit.
that she was nobody. I love the fact she was not connected to the Palpatines, to the fucking Skywalkers, to anyone. I was just like, she's her own fucking person. Thank God.
Especially because when she was just her own person, it's like, hey, that also leads into the possibility of more Jedi, more Force users, you know? But no,
like
they
coming up
just
and actually doing something, you know. So
I
just
definitely feel like
the legacy and well, instead of just the I hate the concept of like it has to be the chosen one. I like the concept that anybody could have been. They could have more Jedi's actually making a difference and doing cool shit. So, yeah.
Yeah, because like that's like one of the great things about episode 8 was it's like the message of that one largely for Jedi wise was just that anyone can be a Jedi. You don't have to belong to you don't have to belong to blood. And then
I am
9
not the last
immediately
Jedi.
rips that out.
Yeah, the concept of I am not the last Jedi. Done. Like, it's like episode 8 would probably be a little bit more palatable if like they didn't just kind of like decide to rip everything out in episode 9 anyway. So it's like it seems like episode 8 was determined just to like, you know, crap on whatever developments happened in episode 7 and then episode 9 decided to crap on any kind of like potential message from that in the following, you know, episode. Just I felt like a waste of time.
Apparently they told his actor that Finn was going to become a Jedi, and then they just completely sidelined him. You know, that was cool. Also, you gotta love how in episode 9 they made sure to just randomly give everyone a boyfriend or girlfriend, just so that all the talk about Finn and whatever the pilot's name was were gay. Yeah, Poe were gay for each other. To bed, even though the actors are like, no, we're cool with that.
As I said, they needed to have a firm plan because you had some interesting questions and characters in the first episode that you decided to subvert expectations for in the 8th episode that you decided to course correct in the 9th episode anyway. So why'd you subvert the expectations in the first place?
Also, you know, I'm sure part of the reason why Finn never did become an actual Jedi was because Disney saw the reactions to the trailers for episode 7 and just immediately shied away because they didn't want to scare away their racist audience.
Yeah, I'm trying to go fast. I'm playing on the hardest difficulty you can on here, so it's like kind of rough. It's still really fun though.
Because oh boy, were there so many racist comments in episode 7's trailer when it first came out, because it was almost exclusively about Finn, and they're just like, a black stormtrooper can't be a thing. A black stormtrooper can't like be the main character, and they were calling them a bunch of racial slurs.
Sheesh.
Yes, Love Broken. That's because we're just chatting. I'm not really working on anything. We're just talking about stuff, ranting about Star Wars and Marvel and whatnot.
I successfully sidetracked the entire agenda for the evening.
Yes,
you're welcome.
But it was so wonderful to have us say to rant again. They're fine.
Like, I think it was the biggest mistake ever to have episodes 7 through 9 even remotely close to the timeline of episodes 1 through 6.
I really feel like
it should have been like distant enough in the future that Luke Skywalker was a legend. Maybe you have him appear as a Force ghost to help guide somebody, but you don't have people from the previous series as active characters.
They had to get nostalgia. that was the whole point of the new series, is they're trying to cash in on their many billions of dollars, whatever they spent on getting the franchise. To, you know, they had to cash in on it. But yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm just like, fuck the current stuff. Give me Old Republic.
Oh, I agree. I would love to see Old Republic. Back before there was, you know, just one Sith and one apprentice. Or one master, one apprentice on the Sith side. It was... I would so much love to see movies of that.
Yeah, there's some good lore on it. I like playing the game, that's for sure. I wish they didn't like totally hate the idea of having a gray Jedi or the yellow Jedi. I would like something in the middle, at least personally. I think it'd be kind of neat if they wrote it good.
Well, real quick, time frame. We're kind of talking about Star Wars and Marvel at the moment. We're not really gonna go off to Pokemon Mystery Dungeon tonight.
I mean, we could.
We could, but I will be ending if we switch over to something else. I'm really enjoying this conversation, but I am past when I was planning to end. But that said, they do have the Gray Jedi. And they are interesting, but we haven't seen them in any of the movies.
And I remember the speculation with like Rey in the start of the arc was like, okay, hey, could we just be setting up this idea that, hey, the Sith were bad. We had the course correction back to the Jedi, but obviously, having too much of the Jedi, with the Sith defeated, was also kind of bad for the balance of the universe. So maybe we just need to have a gray Jedi in the middle. Like, that could have been a really good message for your arc. Will they revive the Ranger series? I'm seeing in chat. Probably not, sadly.
Oh, I wish
also,
they would.
I don't necessarily... I in a lot of ways, I honestly think that the Jedi were way too conservative. They really just need to have somebody way more progressive with the Jedi and not just, because they were very much so locked in their ways. Our teachings say this. So therefore it must only ever be this.
But yeah, no, like I ultimately agree that they definitely did a misstep where they put the new trilogy way too close to the original. So the fact that, like, I think people were saying it's like 25 years, like, yeah, you go from defeating the Sith and the Empire to the same but bigger and badder in 25 years just does not feel accurate or realistic.
There's no way they could have reorganized things, gotten that freaking planet thing built, even with sci-fi technology, there was no way they could have built up that First Order that fast.
Oh, like how they got the Order again after they had been destroyed? They just like remade it really quickly as they come out. Yeah.
Yeah, because
man,
there was
I also
only...
really hated that episode 9. Oh yeah, here's like 5,000 Star Destroyers, all equipped with the Death Star's death ray, and it's just like, why?
Because like you did have that setup in like the first 3 trilogy movies that kind of just showed that like little masterclass chess move that Emperor Palpatine was doing to subvert or use the power of the Senate, against themselves, essentially, to take power. And so, you saw how things were being set up and were being woven together, and then we're just expected, this just happens. And no one, like, opposed at all. Like, you want to like have a TV show? Like, that's how you set up that's how you utilize a TV show. Like, show us like how the First Order came to be, because I think it's honestly a really big plot hole.
It's kind of why I've been preferring series over. It's Star Wars and Marvel are the reason why I've been preferring series over movies, because it's mainly Star Wars. Because they're trying to pull off these big blockbusters and not doing any of the build-up anymore. The previous movies, they had their build-up. The original series, they had their build-up with Star Wars. And then the new trilogy comes out, and it's like, who the fuck is Snoke? And we still don't know who the hell he is.
And
no, they were just a failed clone. They showed you that in episode 9, and I was like, yeah.
I
mean, you can have a random
Sith
Lord come out of nowhere. I also wouldn't really say there was like a ton of build up in the original trilogy for Star Wars. You got introduced in the very middle of a war that was already in place.
That's fair, but there was still so much more than what we got in the newest trilogy. So much more.
Like, it's actually where I can see, like, at the moment, a lot of the big franchises. So you're looking at, DC, Marvel. They want to just have this huge slew of content that, at least for the DC and Marvel, like, it's all connected, guys.
I'm still sad that Warner Brothers put possibly the worst person in charge ever of their DC stuff, so initially. Because Zack Snyder is the worst person to have had a superhero thing, especially Superman. Because that man is a Ayn Rand, like, fanatic and completely cynical about everything, and that is not what you want for Superman.
You talking about like bad acting, bad actor casting that has like actors that are troubled? Is that what you're saying?
No.
Oh, okay.
Henry Cavill could have been fine as Superman. It's the direction, like, so the director and like the main like producer in that for like Superman and Superman v Batman, like those are like the newest ones.
Mm-hmm.
He's a person that believes that no one can ever do good just to do good, and that everyone is only out for themselves. Like, he's a complete like Ayn Rand like fanatic. Which, have you ever played BioShock?
Yes, I played BioShock.
A lot of the BioShock, like, the people that lived in the city and that they were obsessed with Ayn Rand, and like that's like part of why they were like no regulation, no crazy anything, and like. And that's part of why, like, their society collapsed. A lot of people don't actually, get that. They just, like, I don't know. And, like, I don't know, like, but, like, the Superman is supposed to be, like, Superman's a Boy Scout. But, like, he didn't want him to be a Boy Scout because, like, oh, that doesn't work. And it's like, you can still have good stories with Superman being a genuinely good guy.
Yeah, the only one I used to not like Superman at all, like whatsoever, because I never just like found one that vibed with me, or I never gave it a chance. I think Superman versus the, I think they're called the Infinites, was my favorite. Actually, got me kind of liking Superman. Yeah, I think it was called. It's called the either the Infinites or the Invincibles. What's it called again? It's a cartoon Superman movie.
I haven't seen it, so I can't say.
Yeah, it basically has him having a legit dilemma of the newer generation. It's not so much Superman, because it's never really about Superman. It's never really about having to Thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. Hope you enjoy yourself. Welcome to Starting Pack, where I play a lot of indie games. Currently vibing, playing Pokemon Puzzle League, hanging out with homies. Yay. So, basically Superman, the thing is with him is that with that story, it actually focuses more on the idea of like pretty much how his how he's perceived in like when it comes to like everybody sees him, what he's doing, like how he's like basically being a superhero, but he's really letting it keep happening. Like there's basically it's more of a commentary on the justice system and the idea of like should criminals be killed, or also as well as should Superman kill in the first, like should he kill, and why is he not just doing more to stop violence and terrorism and everything when he has so much power? And you know, we talked about how he's a Boy Scout, right? Believing in the system. It was a commentary about that idea with Superman. I think with the idea of like Superman with somebody who's that strong, I think it becomes more interesting. That's why I like The Boys. The Boys is an interesting ass superhero movie, TV show. If you if you like superheroes and you want to watch something that I think's really cool, The Boys. But yeah, I'll go back. That's my rant. I'll go back to listening. Thank you, Stormy, for the follow.
Well, Seda, I'm pretty sure we've kept you up late.
Yes, you have, and my Pokemon sleep schedule is going to be very, very upset with me.
I think this is where we are going to call the stream for the evening. I'm having fun with it, but
it's
we're
getting
kind of
late
petering.
and you need sleep.
We're also kind of petering out on the conversation and stuff, so I think we're going to go ahead and call it here. Rex, you want to do a double raid?
Just remember to
I'm
steal Zim's eggs
done.
before you leave.
Let's see.
Why
What are you thinking of double rating?
I don't know. Let me do my outro real fast.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us to this stream here. We were supposed to do some writing and stuff, but we didn't. But that's okay. We had fun.
You're welcome.
That's what's important. Check out our website, cgfgaming.com. We got links for our Discord, Telegram, Mastodon, Patreon, and more. There on the website, as well as down in the description below through our link tree. Thank you to my patrons, tippers, and subscribers. It is because of your support that I'm able to continue bringing these streams to you all. I really cannot do this without your guys' help and support, so thank you. Consider becoming a patron over at patreon.com/zgfgaming. It's one of the best ways to support the channel, though you can also do so by checking out my friends, Okitsu, Seda BDA, and Rex Strider. If you're watching this on YouTube, there will be links to them down in the description below. Otherwise, we'll get links to them in the chat here in a moment. But yeah, thank you all so much for joining. I really appreciate all of you. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube, and I bid you the most fondest adieu.
See everybody. Duke.
Rough.
There you go.